Good evening and welcome to Mount Sinai Jewish Center's annual journal dinner. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marasha Moore and I'm the Executive Director here at Mount Sinai Jewish Center. Although our dinner this year may look a little different than usual, we have a great program in store for you. This year is all about honoring our heroes, our essential workers and essential shul volunteers that really kept the community and shul afloat this year. We will begin by showing you a slideshow of virtual events and programs that happened this past year. Even while closed, we had so much going on through virtual programming, grab and goes, and other events. For this, we have many people to thank. I'd like to thank those who ran our ongoing programming, especially during the first 12 weeks of COVID, when the complete shutdown happened and the shul was closed. There was much need for social interaction and community bonding, and for this, we are thankful of these people for running online programming. Elisheva Kopelman, Gilad Kopelman, Hannah Golden, Josh Skutsky, Yehuda Krepka, Rachel Waldman, Esty Rollhouse, Panina Cantor, Avi Lazdun, Rabbi Taubis, Racheli Taubis, Ethan Katz, Levi Tights, Zohar Bashiri Geiger, Shani Keish, Yisrael Meir Fremis, Alon Cole, and all of the Daf Yomi Shir givers for giving their time, dedication, and skills to help the shul and its members stay active this past year. A huge thank you to this year's board officers, Ari, Sarah, Ari, Shani, and Shira, as well as Rabbi Taubis, Racheli Taubis, and Nick for really taking larger roles this year and always being there for my questions and really being a supportive team to work alongside with. Now, I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the slideshow.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ratner, Shul Vice President. We've had an amazing year of virtual events, and we're so happy to be transitioning back to in-person events and learning. It was so nice to see so many of you earlier at the in-person portion of our hybrid dinner. Next, we have a special message from our Mount Sinai kids. Big thank you to Family Life Chair Marasha Moore for running virtual children's programming, grab-and-go events, and for starting the Kids Kesher, which is on its 8th monthly issue. Presenting the MSJC Kids.
Thank you for our essential workers.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the essential workers.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the things you've done for us this past year in Corona.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mount Sinai Kids, for those adorable messages, and thank you to all of our essential workers and volunteers. Next up, we'll be hearing from Rabbi Tavis. Rabbi Tavis joined Mount Sinai only 7 months before we had to take the unprecedented step of closing our doors. Rabbi Tavis has been instrumental in organizing, planning, and running both our virtual programming as well as our gradual reopening of shul.
Good evening, everyone. It's Rabbi Taubes. Welcome to the Mount Sinai Jewish Center annual dinner. Thank you so much for coming. It's good to see you all, even just on video. The Sefer HaChinuch to yesterday's Parsha, to Parshas Korach, accords in the first mitzvah that the mitzvah of Shmira b'Mikdash, that the Mikdash needs to be guarded at all times, all day and all night. And part of this is purely functional, to make sure the Mikdash is protected so it can function properly. But it's also supposed to provide a sense of awe, a sense of presence, that anyone who comes to the Beis HaMikdash will recognize this is a special place because they'll see the people guarding it. Over this past difficult year in our shul and our community, we've had many shomrim, people who have guarded it, people who have allowed for it to continue to function, who have performed essential service for the shul, for the community, for the world, in order that it can continue to function. But they've also given a sense of awe. Anyone who sees them cannot help but being awed by their presence, by recognizing what a special place we have, what a special shul we are. And tonight we're here to say a Karas Tov to all the essential workers, and in particular to the honorees who help our shul function, who help our community function, and provide us that sense of awe. We want to say thank you and a huge mazel tov to all of them.
Good evening, y'all. My family has been in Washington Heights for 4 generations. My great-grandparents settled here. My grandparents married and raised their 2 children in the neighborhood. My grandmother, uncle, and his family still live here, and my sisters and I have all spent time living in Washington Heights. I remember coming to shul as a little kid with my grandfather, William Blank, Ahava Shalom, an honorary trustee of Mount Sinai, and my grandmother, Faye Blank, who was president of the sisterhood and still lives in Washington Heights. I grew up coming to Washington Heights during school breaks and spent many summer weeks here. Washington Heights began to feel like home even before I officially lived here. After graduating from nursing school in Boston, I lived in Washington Heights for over 4 years. In Pirkei Avot and Parak Bet, Pasuk Bet, it says, V'kol ha'oskim im hatzibor yehiyu oskim imahem l'shem shamayim shezechut avotam b'zayatam v'yizkatam omedet la'ad. When you work for the community, you should work for Hashem's sake. Then the good deeds of your fathers will help you for their good deeds last forever. Just like my Uma and Upa were integral parts of the Washington Heights community, I have followed in their footsteps and am proud to be their granddaughter. And like them, continue to serve the community, L'Shem Shamayim. In Parashat Vayakel, it talks about how a shul is built by all of the members of the community, working and contributing together. I believe it goes without saying that Mount Sinai is definitely that type of shul. From the Kabbatim to the board members and officers, from Kiddush setup, Gabriel Kiddush again, to the construction committee, this shul has been built by volunteer work for the people in the community. Just last month, my aunt, whose parents also settled in Washington Heights after the war, told me that her father was one who, together with a friend, came in one night and physically built the mechitza that was still standing up until recently, because before that there was no mechitza. Being a part of a community doesn't just mean becoming a member of a shul. It means becoming involved, because it is only when you become involved do you really get to see the beauty that is the community. This year, I made the move to the Upper West Side, yet I find myself more frequently in Washington Heights for Shabbos than the Upper West Side, purely for Mount Sinai, obviously. I have spent many Chagim here when I couldn't go home to family, and sometimes even chose to stay for Chagim because of the community itself. I have met amazing people through the shul and have formed friendships that surpass any that I've ever had before. We're not just friends, we're each other's family, and sometimes we actually become family. I am a living and breathing #Mad at Mount Sinai. During the pandemic, I was in the thick of things. Being an obstetrics nurse and being trained in high class as well as surgical cases, I was chosen to become the COVID nurse on my unit, caring for the most acutely sick patients, aiding in intubations of pregnant women, and delivering their babies, sometimes unbeknownst to them, in stat surgical situations. Many times, I would stand there, inches away from a COVID-positive patient's face, helping them get through an unprecedented time, but trying to ensure that what should be one of the best days of their lives remains just that, one of their best days. I spent 6 weeks living near the hospital since we had to be on call at all times, and the city was a scary place during those months. Traveling through a deserted metropolitan area was eerie, and then walking into a battlefield with an enemy invisible to the naked eye was even scarier. There were many times during COVID that healthcare professionals felt scared, hopeless, exhausted. Many Shabbases, Pesach, and my birthday were spent alone, but it was my Washington Heights family that got me through the toughest of times and stood by me, cheering me on daily through texts, Zooms, group chats, and nightly cheering. The Achdus that embodies this community is unique and has given me a home away from home. Just like the Jewish people came together at Har Sinai when they received the Torah, we have all come together at our own Har Sinai. This isn't just a shul. This isn't just a community. These aren't just friends. This right here, this is family. This is what makes Washington Heights so special. I would like to thank the Rabbi and Rebbitzin for all that they do for the community. Rabbi Talbis, I will never forget that phone call I received from you checking in on me, making sure I was doing okay during the height of COVID. Marasha, your work for the shul goes beyond expectations. You dedicate so much time and self to your job, and we also appreciate everything that you do. Nick, thank you for always being there to help us with shul functions, welcoming us with a smile and a greeting. Thank you to all my friends. If I start listing your names, we'll be here all night, but you know who you are. We've been through a lot together, but despite it all, we have danced, we have laughed, we have supported one another. We truly are each other's family. I honestly don't know what I would do without each and every one of you. You all mean the world to me, and I am so grateful for all of you. Thank you to my family who came in from near and far. Thank you to my siblings and future siblings-in-law, both here and on Zoom, for cheering me on even when I felt like I wanted to give up this year, and making me laugh through Zooms, videos, and pictures. I can't wait until we are all together soon and can celebrate a lot more Simchas B'Yachad. Uma, thank you for always providing a home away from home. Your love and encouragement is well known to all, and I am so proud to be called your granddaughter. Debbie, Abba, and Mommy Fox, thank you for welcoming me in with open arms and joining us here tonight. Mommy and Abba Blackner, firstly, thank you for driving all the way from Boston for tonight. You taught me from an early age what it meant to be part of a community. Your constant support is why I have been able to achieve such great heights. I always feel you cheering me on even from 200 miles away. Lastly, thank you to my amazing fiancé, Perry, who keeps me calm when I am not, stands by me through the bad days as much as the good days, and is always there ready to root me on. You keep me grounded yet raise me up, and are truly my constant cheerleader. Washington Heights has become my family over the last 5 years, and I am so grateful to have been able to become a part of it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Dear Safta, tonight you are representing all educators and receiving the Rabbi Yehuda Hilowitz Memorial Award. You are very dedicated to your teaching, and especially this past year, you have taught us by example how to be flexible and see the good in every situation. We love that we go to the same shul as you and Sabush, and you have both shown all of us what commitment to the community looks like. Mazal Tov Safta on your award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tehila Reeser, a chemistry teacher at the SAR High School in Riverdale. I stand before you as a representative of teachers who went beyond the call of duty to teach students and keep them safe during the COVID pandemic. Rabbi Yehuda Hilowitz, of blessed memory, was a family friend. Yehuda, Chani, and their 3 children have been close friends of our family from the time we were the young members of Mount Sinai Jewish Center many years ago. We have shared in each other's smachot, and we have been there for each other through difficult and challenging times. In many ways, together we have become part of one large family. Rabbi Yehuda Hilowitz worked tirelessly for our shul for over 25 years and was respected for his vast knowledge of Torah and his commitment to halakha. What I cherish the most about Yehuda was his down-to-earth mindset and his sharp wit. Rabbi Hilowitz made a significant and lasting impact on this shul, and I am honored to receive this year's Yehuda Hilowitz Memorial Award. In the Torah portion of Parashat Shlach, Moshe sends the Meraglim to explore the land of Israel. It should have been the transition from a promise made to our forefathers 400 years earlier to the return of Bnei Israel to their promised land. For the spies, however, the reality that they saw on the ground did not match the way they had imagined it to be. Instead of focusing on all the things that were right, they focused on all the things that were wrong, and they could not bridge the gap. During the COVID pandemic, we in the Jewish day schools did not make this mistake. Our administrators imagined schools being open despite the many challenges. To ensure that in-person learning could continue safely, everyone in the building would be properly masked and socially distanced. In addition, walls would be moved to enlarge classrooms. The air filtration system would be updated. And weather permitting, some classes would be held outdoors. There were no guarantees that this would work, but we believed in the importance of in-person learning. With communal effort, our schools remained open the entire school year. There will always be more work and more challenges for us and for those who follow us. In the words of Theodore Herzl, Im tirtzu en zo agada. If you will it, it is no dream. Mazal tov to all of tonight's honorees. May all of us and Mount Sinai Jewish Center continue to go michayil el chayil, from strength to strength. Thank you. I'm going to decompose hydrogen peroxide in a Sabra bottle. I'm going to pour concentrated hydrogen peroxide into the bottle. To that, I'm going to add dish detergent, so when the oxygen is produced, the soap bubbles will be able to capture the oxygen. To this, I'm going to add some food coloring to make the reaction prettier. So some red food coloring and a little blue food coloring. I'm going to need something to start the reaction, and so I'm going to use a catalyst. I'm going to use potassium iodide in solution. It's dissolved in water, so it's a liquid that's easy to pour in. So let me add the catalyst, and let's see what happens. Whoa!
Hi everyone, it's Zachariah.
And it's Shlomo.
We just wanted to thank all the essential workers this year who really stepped up, and we especially wanted to thank Elisheva and Gilad who really stepped it up and made sure that all the programming and davening continued even when shul was closed. Amazing job.
Elisheva and Gilad are true community builders, and tonight we'll be receiving the Herbert Harwit Community Builder Award. We want to give you a bracha. In all that you do, you should find bracha. You should taste the bracha and the fruition of all of your efforts. Many, many continued blessings.
When I first came to Mount Sinai while finishing up at Barnard and dating Gilad, I knew exactly 2 people out of a social hall full of unfamiliar faces. I stuck with Rivka Holzer and Elizabeth Carmen, who both had me on their couches many times and had lots of meals with Gilad's old roommates from YU. I would go find Gilad in the shul lobby when he would come after davening at Dumbrov across the street, and for many months I stuck with that. At a certain point, I decided I didn't want this to be my entire shul social experience. I began to meet more people, some through attending and organizing shul programs, others by just walking up to them and saying hello after davening. It seems I have a penchant for talking to strangers, considering some of you know that Gilad and I met on the 1 train. I also convinced him to start coming to Mount Sinai when it became clear to me how warm and inspiring of a community it was. For me, serving on the board and on the events and family life committees, and Gilad with the board and the Gabbai committee, were our core Mount Sinai experiences. When COVID hit, it was clear that the shul needed to adapt and fast. Marasha and I opened up a Google Sheet with other volunteers to scribble up a weekly program of virtual classes and davening to delegate to shul members to run. Gilad and I were extremely lucky to be doing our jobs from home this past year, and for better or worse, COVID and shul showed us what we were capable of. As some of the community stepped back from the neighborhood to live with family, we all say this, but it became clear how much every single person matters in the shul, and that without action from as many people as possible, the shul would not have reopened when it did, or as safely as it did.
Growing up in a small community of Sunnyvale, California, my parents instilled within me a strong sense of responsibility through modeling communal involvement. My mom is a longtime educator and now administrator at the local day school, and my dad had served for many years as president of both their shul and local day school. Watching my dad's commitment to leading many late board meetings and shul discussions left a powerful impression on me. As the famous Mishnah in the second parak of Pirkei Avos states, in the name of Hillel, "B'makom she'en ish ishtadel liot ish." In a situation, an environment in which no one steps up to the plate, be the one, the man or the woman, who drives the change. As Elisheva had mentioned, I'd wandered around from place to place in the Heights until I found my place here at Mount Sinai. While at first I may have been intimidated by all the people I didn't know, I eventually began attending Mount Sinai and began making lifelong friends. I soon found myself itching to make a difference. I found myself involved in the Gabbai committee and laning rotation. Soon after, I became co-chair of the committee, serving alongside Davida Kolmar. I knew it was a serious commitment when I took it on, but didn't fully realize what it would entail until 2020. As part of our duties leading the Gabbai committee, Davida and I had to ensure we remained compliant with state and local ordinances, ensuring we always get a minyan,
Even if that meant he was texting you at midnight the night before.
all while maximizing minyan attendance to the full extent legally and safely possible. It was challenging and stressful at times, but in the end, I look back and look with pride at what we as a community were able to get through a difficult time and come out better for it on the other side.
Now it's the Oscars moment. We would like to thank the Shul Power Team, the Taubuses, Marasha, and Nick for working tirelessly to support Mount Sinai, providing religious guidance and community vision, keeping Shul engaging and organized and beautiful and extraordinarily sanitized. A special down-home thank you to my parents for being so supportive of our community work. A particular shout out to my mother, who who models what it is to be a welcoming person who opens her home with warmth and making Jewish experiences more mindful and more fun. She gave me my first taste of passion for Jewish life.
We would like to thank my parents as well, who are the backbone of the Sunnyvale Jewish community and have truly embodied what it means to be community leaders. And lastly, and above all, we give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gives us the opportunity to live amongst a wonderful Jewish community like the Heights, and strength to continue and inspiration to grow in our Avodas Hashem. Thank you all.
Hi everyone, it's me Naomi Nachman. You might know me for my chop competitions and my cookbook, but I heard there's a very special dinner happening here tonight. Yamit and Alon and all the essential workers are being honored here tonight. Just want to congratulate you all for your really hard work and I hope you have an amazing dinner tonight. Congratulations.
We feel so privileged and humbled to be guests of honor this year, with the theme, Honoring Our Heroes. One definition of a hero is one who shows great courage. One who chooses to risk their well-being to support another person is courageous. Sadly, opportunities to be courageous were everywhere over the last 15 months. During the COVID-19 public health emergency, essential workers knew that every time we went outside, we were taking a chance that we could get sick, or worse, get our family sick. As some of you may know, I am an attending at Bellevue Hospital in podiatry. As a public teaching hospital, our patients are disproportionately very sick with multiple medical and behavioral health conditions. During the initial COVID-19 pause in spring of 2020, I continued to see patients in the clinic a few days a week for the most critical procedures only. We did our best to triage those cases and manage everyone else remotely. The mission was to keep patients out of hospitals and operating rooms, which we were told were now ICUs. I'll never forget my trips going downtown, the endless streams of ambulances, the rows of overflow morgue trailers outside of Bellevue and the medical examiner's office. The palpable feeling of death and gloom throughout our usually bright and vibrant city. As restrictions lifted over the summer, we phased in more hours in the clinic and more surgeries. We treated a number of patients who needed amputations with episodes of severe sepsis due to COVID-19. We were constantly being informed of a patient or a coworker we'd had contact with recently who later tested positive for COVID-19. At MSJC, during the COVID-19 public health emergency, I had the honor of serving as a Tokea on Rosh Hashanah. I remember the dialogue among Tokeas. What if a Tokea might unwittingly be carrying the virus without symptoms? Should we take precaution to minimize risk of transmitting COVID-19 through shofar blowing? Put up screens, masks over the end of the shofar? None of the ideas ended up being practical. I felt a tremendous sense of responsibility as I wound up being one of only a few people to remove a mask in shul, even briefly, all year. I also completed my third term as a trustee at MSJC last year. Additionally, over the last 15 months, I've had the honor of serving on the medical advisory group, which strives to keep us all safe, alongside my colleagues for whom I have the utmost respect and gratitude. We are so proud and relieved that our community has been extremely successful, Blia and Hara, preventing COVID-19 transmission at MSJC.
At Mount Sinai Jewish Center, I started my fourth term as a trustee during COVID-19. I've also continued to serve as co-chair of our Community-Supported Agriculture, CSA, program, which partners directly with local farms to bring fresh, organic, local produce to CSA members each week during the local growing season. We regret that we were not able to have CSA at MSJC in 2020, when direct access to essential items was sorely needed. And we are happy to be back for 2021. Professionally, I'm a social worker at JASA, overseeing our 6 geriatric mental health clinics, which provide psychotherapy and psychopharmacological treatment to approximately 225 older adults throughout the diverse neighborhoods of the Bronx. Many are living with a long history of severe and persistent mental illnesses and challenging socioeconomic situations. I remember watching Mayor de Blasio's press conference on Sunday, March 15th, 2020. That night, I called all of the clinic staff to let them know in-person patient contact is suspended indefinitely, effective immediately. Staff were to work from home. Clinicians were to keep all of their scheduled appointments by phone or video conference. And we didn't miss a beat. We plowed through, building all of the new things that we needed while we went along. Not only did we not miss one patient appointment, we fielded an unprecedented demand for services. We started receiving a month's worth of new patient inquiries every week. Current patients, too, used more services than they did before. We initiated new virtual therapy groups. We deployed internet-enabled tablets and unlimited training and support to select patients to help them engage with us and other support networks. We've facilitated dozens of COVID-19 vaccine appointments, all while navigating the logistics of how to get this all done without ever having face-to-face contact with a patient or a colleague. It never occurred to us to do otherwise. We are inspired by the words from Pirkei Avot, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, v'lo ata ben chorin lihibatel mimena. While it is not on you to finish the work by yourself, you are also not free to give up on it. We are so proud to be part of a community that appears to have a high percentage of essential and frontline workers during the COVID-19 public health emergency. We feel blessed to do this work together with others here who are driven by our values. In this community, we feel continuously inspired to strive to do the courageous work of examining ourselves and making this institution even better. Thank you.
Good evening. This has truly been an extraordinary year at Mount Sinai Jewish Center, and it is extremely gratifying that we are celebrating tonight with our annual dinner. Today marks 15 months to the day since the shul leadership decided, after many hours of discussion, to close the shul on Erev Shabbat Parshat Parah. Our ability to have remained a safe and comfortable place to daven since we reopened last June has been due to a collaborative effort between the shul leadership, our medical advisory team, and the Safety and Security Committee. We began this collaboration in late February of last year with discussions as to how to safely host Parshat Zachor and Megillah readings and Purim programming in the very early days of the pandemic. I can truly say that despite the challenges and hurdles we faced this past year, we have remained a cohesive and united group, which has enabled us to work together to institute clear policies and guidelines throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of these policies, we were, thank God, able to have uplifting tefillot on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, including a very successful Tekiyat Shofar outside. We continued on to have a full sukkah during Sukkot, a modified hakafot on Simchat Torah, multiple readings on Parshat Zachor and Megillat Esther, a children's program on Purim, meaningful davening over Pesach, and recently a robust Tikkun Leil Shavuot program. It has been tremendously rewarding for me personally to have been a part of instituting guidelines that enabled us to safely have a full year of Chagim celebrated in person at Mount Sinai Jewish Center. Before I thank the people responsible for creating these guidelines, I would like to thank each and every one of you in the remarkable way you have adhered to our COVID policies, be it through signing up to attend tefillah, properly wearing masks, and maintaining social distancing. Without your support, we would not be where we are today. Our initial medical advisory team consisted of doctors Ilana Clark, Ayelet Hilowitz, Alon Kol, and Shalom Sokolov. They were instrumental in guiding us in the weeks before we closed and enabled us to feel confident that we could safely reopen. Dr. Ayelet and Dr. Alon remained an integral part of our decision-making process and have always been available despite their extremely busy schedules to offer their outstanding guidance and wisdom. Words cannot express my appreciation to my Safety and Security Committee co-chairs, Sam Benson and Gila Stadler. Sam and Gila possess an incredible wealth of knowledge and insight that have helped guide our shul to make well-reasoned, rational, and grounded decisions. I hope and pray that with God's help, we will continue to move forward and be able to join together to celebrate many more joyous occasions, unmasked and in person, in the coming months ahead.
Hi y'all, I'm back. Well, it wouldn't be a complete award ceremony unless someone had a wardrobe change. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's presentation as much as I did. Well, of course I enjoyed it. I made it. And I hope that everyone had a great dinner at home. This is the first hybrid dinner, and we hope it will be one of our last hybrid dinners and that we will be fully back in person with you next year. Wishing everyone a great night, and be sure to view our journal online on our website now. Have a good night. I know the last slide just said the end, but we can't forget bloopers. Hi all. Ugh. Hi all, I'm back. It wouldn't be
Right, I think I should be like upwards like this a little bit. Wait, can I see myself, please?
It's recording. Ready?
Wait, stop it then.
Okay.
Good evening, y'all. My family has been in Washington Heights for 4 generations. My grandparents settled here. Sorry.
Okay. Our ability to have remained open